So this video was a little long overdue. It's been a minute since I actually recorded something. Not just of me giving advice, but just in general. My life has been kind of like, I don't want to say it's been moving fast, but I've had so many other things that I both wanted to focus on and that I needed to focus on. I've been through a lot. I learned a lot of lessons, and I guess to sum it all up, I just wanted to ensure that I've learned enough, that I've been through enough experiences before I got back on this camera with y'all to talk. But one thing I learned is this. I noticed, obviously, there's a lot of people. By the way, excuse that noise in the background. This is the 4th of July, so there's going to be a lot of people, probably doing fireworks and stuff like that. So it's a little hard, so just try to block that out. I'm trying to speak over it so y'all can still hear my voice, but yeah, just try to block that out. That's what that's about. But anyways, yeah, obviously there's a lot of people in this world that, if they going through some type of trauma in their life, they're going through any struggle, any hardship, they tend to seek help from, counseling. They tend to go to therapy. They tend to tell their family and friends about it, see what type of advice that they can offer, and so on and so forth. But me personally, I've never felt the need to do that because I feel like there is nothing that a human can do for you or say to you that's going to be able to help you out that God can't do for you or say to you in some type of way, through some type of sign. You know what I mean? But I also noticed that there's a lot of things that God can do for you, that the Lord can do for you, that humans can't. So I say all of that to say, if you're going through anything in your life and you just basically struggling to find the answers, you're struggling to find the guidance, turn to God first before you turn to anybody else. Because I've been doing that all my life. And yeah, it hasn't always worked out in the exact time frame that I wanted it to, as quickly as I may have wanted it to, but eventually it's always worked out. I've always gotten through it. There's been a lot of moments in my life where I've had a lot of not breakthroughs, but there's been a lot of moments in my life that I've had a lot of breakdowns where I didn't know what to do, and I was just acting off of impatience. I was acting off of, I don't know if adrenaline is the right word, but I was acting off of anxiety. And as a result, I made a lot of decisions that I probably shouldn't have. And had I been more patient in those certain situations, things obviously would have worked out different for me. But I noticed every time I learn to just let go and just let God do what he does best, because that's the thing about it, man. People think that there is some type of shame in just surrendering or just giving up whenever you don't know what to do. They always preach the message of, don't give up on it. If anything, talk to somebody about it. Go to therapy or so on and so forth. But tell somebody about it instead of just giving up on your situation, instead of just giving up hope. But my thing is, it's not necessarily giving up hope if you learn to just wave your white flag and just let God do what he does. Because what's the point of having God in your life? What's the point of inviting him into your life if you're not going to let him do that? That's what he does best. So that's why I had to tell myself there's no shame in surrendering and say, you know what? I don't have the answers, but I know that God does because he's all knowing. I know that Jesus does. So there's no shame in allowing him to work miracles in my life. And I noticed that whenever I've done that, things have always worked out at the exact perfect time, at the right time. You know what I'm saying? Even when I didn't see it coming. When you just learn to truly surrender and just truly learn to stress less and smile more and just let God do what he does best, it's not going to always work out in the time frame that you want it to, but it always will work out at the perfect time. And when it does, you're going to be so happy that you did it. because it's going to feel so right. It's going to feel so perfect. Like it's happened exactly when it needed to happen. And humans can't do that for you. And the more that we try to do it ourselves, the more that we try to, think we know it all, and just the more we fail to put our pride to the side, the more we're prolonging our rough days, the more that we're prolonging our hardships, and so on and so forth, and whatever negative things that we go through in our lives. So there's no shame in surrendering, but turn to God first, bro. Before you turn to anybody else, turn to God first. Because me personally, I've never been to any therapist. Whenever I was going through something, I've never been to any therapist. I've never had any therapy. I've never had to have any counseling. I've never had to speak to my mom or my dad or my sisters or my brothers or my aunts, uncles, whoever. I've never had to speak to anybody in my family about whatever I was going through. I've never had to speak to any of my colleagues at work. Whenever I've had my mental breakdowns, I've never had to go to an asylum and so on. Y'all get my point. Like, I've never had to seek any human help, and things have always worked out for me. You know what I'm saying? It just hasn't always worked out in the time frame that I wanted it to. But eventually, no matter what I'm going through, no matter how much at the bottom that I am, no matter how much hope I lose in my situation, I always come back to him. I always do. And eventually things always work themselves out. And there's going to be a lot more moments where I have breakdowns. There's going to be a lot more moments where I lose my patience and make decisions that I probably shouldn't make. But as long as you come back, then it's never going to be too late. You know what I mean? As long as there's still breath in your body, it's never too late to come back to Jesus. That's what I've always done. And you don't even have to be praying. You could just talk to him. He prefers if you do it by yourself, when there's nobody else around, when it's completely quiet. So that's when I always do it. I don't necessarily pray. I just talk to him. Whether it's in my mind or whether it's out loud, just have that conversation with him. And even if things don't work themselves out right away, I guarantee you'll feel a lot better about your situation because you did that. Because even though you didn't get those things off of your chest to another human, you got it off of your chest, period. And even if things don't work themselves out in that exact moment, you're still going to feel a lot better that you did that you at least took that step. And another thing that I wanted to say too is that there's a lot of people that got this common misconception that the only way to turn to Christ is by going to church or by reading the Bible or by praying. And yes, those are the most common ways to turn to him. But we live in a world that brainwashes you into thinking that those are the only ways. And if you don't do those things, then you're some type of heathen. Let me be the first to tell you that that's not true. Because if that was the case, if those were the only ways that you could turn to God, then I guarantee you, there will be a lot of people in this world that would never be able to get over any of the hardships that they have. So that's proof, because I don't usually go to church. I'm not usually a church goer, and I haven't read the Bible in God knows how long. And I can't remember the last time I actually prayed unless I was just praying over my food or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, I still turned to God in some way. Whether it was me having a conversation with him, just talking to him out loud, or just, having a conversation in my mind with him, or whether it was just me surrendering myself and letting him work miracles in my life instead of trying to do it all myself, and so on and so forth. Those are ways that you could turn to Christ too. Or you could turn to him by trying to better yourself. You know what I mean? Just whether it's you eating better, whether it's you making more smart decisions in your life, or more of the right choices. There are plenty of ways to turn to God. Don't let anybody tell you that the only way that you can do it is by going to church, or by praying, or by, reading the Bible, and so on and so forth. There's plenty of ways that you can allow God into your life. I mean, yeah, you got to get baptized in water to let him know that you accept the sacrifice that he made for us when he died on the cross. But besides that, there's a lot of ways that you could turn to him, that you can allow him to work miracles in your life. Because if there wasn't, then I would have never gotten over any of the hardships in my life that I've been through before without going to church or without doing any of that stuff. So trust me, as long as you allow him into your life in some way, it'll work out for you eventually. It's just going to be on his time. You know what I mean? But that's just another thing that I wanted to say, because I feel like that's where a lot of people get it confused. They're thinking that just because they don't go to church or so on and so forth, that they're some type of bad person or something like that, or that they don't deserve saving. That is far from the truth, bro. Let me be the first to tell you, because I've witnessed it. I've experienced it. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced things in my life turn around for the better when I learned to just let go and let God without doing any of that extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? All I do is I go to work and then I come back home and then I do whatever I got to do around the house. But I've never went out of my way to do any of that extra stuff that Christians do. I mean, and I'm not knocking it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with it. If that's their way, then that's their way. But just don't be fooled into thinking that that's the only way. But anyways, man, you don't need to seek help from any human entities, bro. Because 9 times out of 10, they're just going to tell you things that you probably hear all the time. You know, it'll get better soon. You'll get over it soon. You know, don't give up hope yet. Things will work themselves out, which they will. But at the same time, hearing things like that, that's such cliche advice. And if I turn to humans, they're just going to tell me all of the same things that I've heard like a million times that have done nothing for me. You know what I mean? So there's nothing that humans can do for you that God can't. So whenever you're going through something, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn to him first before you turn to anybody else. You know what I mean? That's the best thing that you can do. But anyways, I just wanted to say that. I mean, I'm going to have a lot more of these videos talking about a lot more things, but I just wanted to make this video to kind of touch bases with y'all again, to let y'all know where my mind is at and where I'm thinking. But anyways, hopefully whenever I post this, hopefully I take something from it. You know, I don't necessarily post these videos to necessarily tell y'all what to do, even though that's kind of what I just did. But I just make these videos to kind of just give people a little bit of insight and kind of make them think a little bit. That's all. But ultimately, we all have free will and we're all free to do what we want. But I just wanted to make this to let y'all know where I was at. But yeah, I just hope that y'all enjoyed this. You know, I don't know when I'm going to make my next video. I guess we'll just have to see. But I love each and every person watching this video. God bless y'all. Y'all stay safe and y'all stay blessed. And I'm going to catch y'all on my next one. Deuces.